How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another Counterside video. So it's been a few days, around about 5-ish, maybe, since the new Origin update, and I wanted to take a minute to talk about the changes and my thoughts on them, and yeah, I wanted to see what you all were thinking and just kind of share my experience a little bit. The biggest change, the most obvious change, and the one that they really pushed at the start and all the way through the lead up to this update was the UI changes. And overall, I think they're pretty good. I like them for the most part. The biggest complaint I've seen about the UI changes, one of the biggest complaints I've seen about the UI changes, is it's more muted color tones, using a lot more just grayish blacks and whites, and it just dulls it down a bit, but at the same time, it kind of fits the semi-dreary theme that Counterside has quite often. But overall, like, the UI changes and the getting around in the menus is not that bad. I do enjoy it. The favorite feature here, though I haven't favorited anything yet, is amazing, and it is the greatest part of the entirety of this, showing your mainstream progress, any like operation list or limited time things going on right here immediately. Very, very nice. So you see danger close going on right now. Very, very nice. And then, showing your operation lists over here as well. It's just shows you the last thing you played. It's all very nice. That is not the last thing I played, though. Apparently it doesn't count if you do challenge content. The attack training, defense training, all over that simulation over here. Dimension trimming with the Shadow Palace. I had somebody tell me they did mention this, and I didn't go back and check, but I don't remember them saying they were changing Shadow Palace. I remember them saying they were changing where you would access it. But you have a new way you challenge it. Basically, you build 3 teams, and you just keep fighting these stages over and over as they get progressively more difficult. That's fine, honestly. I have no problem with that. I really don't have any quips with that or any issue with that. Maybe the previous way was a little bit more interesting, but that's fine. 3 completely unique teams using completely unique units. So if you have a unit you really like and you want to use it in multiple teams, it still gives you a reason to build multiple of a single unit if you really wanted. So I do appreciate that. So for some of us who had multiple of units because of Danger Close's previous version, there might still be a use for them. I will say the biggest problem with Shadow Palace is the shadow fragments and how you craft the gear now. Quite frankly, the drop rate is just too small. Like, you aren't getting anywhere near enough shadow fragments considering how much you need to craft. How much you need to craft a single piece of Shadow Palace gear at the rates of actually getting SSR Shadow Palace gear. It's an abysmal rate. It's an abysmal rate of drop to Eternium. That needs to be changed and just bumped up considerably. If not in the lower levels, in the higher levels, especially because, you put the effort in to get that high. I haven't touched the Swift, was previously the Relic dungeons, to see about what the drop rate of Dimension Cubes are, but they're not in your first clears on the level 1 at least. And I haven't, nobody I've asked has done it much either, so I can't say for sure that it has a good drop rate or a bad drop rate compared to how much you need in the Eternium you're using. But I imagine it's comparable to Shadow Palace, which means it's probably needs a lot of up. You need to up it a lot more. That's really the biggest quip I have, and for the third one, but because I haven't done Main Story 8 yet, it is definitely probably in the same boat. But you see the timer up here in the corner. That so every week, the one that's down here that says Jungle will switch with the Volcano one. which is 2 different types of gear that was added in the update because, you know, JP and Korea already had it, so we got them all in this update. Little things that they didn't really mention, and if you didn't follow the other servers, kind of like I didn't really follow the other servers, you didn't know it was coming, so there is that. But that's a nice thing. That's a nice surprise more than it's any kind of negative. But that's the dimension trimming. The drop rates is the biggest issue there. Otherwise, I really don't have much of an issue with it. It's pretty great. Challenge and your supply operations here mostly work just the same. No tickets for the actual challenge stages. It's fine. Now you can just challenge them, beat them, get them going, get them done whenever you want, and then doesn't leave you much reason to farm them once you finished, of course, but that's fine. You're doing the challenge stage just to get the reward and say you've cleared it. The biggest quip with the UI update, if I said the one before was the biggest, I'm wrong. This is the biggest, and this is a pretty overall consensus I've seen, and it's right here in the substream specifically. The timeline aspect is not the issue itself. In fact, the timeline is very, very nice to have, very cool. Though the way it's laid out, I will say it now, is very confusing, not very straightforward. Could use a little bit of work because you got to do a lot of mental gymnastics to kind of put some of this together to see, oh, this connects to this and this is here, and yeah. It's a lot. And, yeah, like, just, you can see it. I kind of scrolled through it. You can see it. And they did briefly, right before the update, mention that we were getting, like, all of our events added in and everything. So they're all here, even, you know, like, Grimory's Bar and stuff. So that's why I haven't done a main story. That's why I haven't, you know, checked everything out completely in, like, dimension trimming. It's because I've been going through re-clearing and clearing some of this when I have the free time. So, still working on that, clearly. But the timeline itself is very nice. It's just very cluttered here and a little confusing to navigate and find what you're looking for. There's some ways this could be better, and based on opinion. I won't, you know, really talk about it much here. But I do like the timeline aspect. I just think it clutters things up here a little bit. More so that the timeline itself is very hard to follow. It doesn't really explain a whole lot. Also, that each event now has their own shops being added, which is great. More resources. It's always, always nice to see. We love resources. Biggest issue with this, though, is the drop rate of the items is pretty small, so it uses a lot of Eternium to farm up what you need to clean out these shops and get this stuff. So they did say when an event and so a new sub-story is new, you get a drop rate bonus, so that probably makes that quicker. And maybe, hopefully, we'll get, like, I don't know what you would call them, but, like, quick time events, more or less, where, you know, it'll increase the drop rate in old sub-stories and stuff like that, and that would be a good time to farm them. So maybe something like that will come along and alleviate that issue. But right now, if you try to farm out these shops, that is all your Eternium and very little progress right now. So maybe those events will happen, maybe bump the drops a little bit, maybe. But that's a pretty consistent problem across the new Origin update, is your Eternium to drop rate ratio is pretty skewed. Like, not getting enough Eternium to cover all that you have to farm, and not getting enough of a reward for your Eternium. So something that needs to be looked at. Let's see, what would be the next thing to talk about? Like, the UI was the big thing, right? So yeah, the world map and dives. Not needing teams for these individual, like, when you send them out on missions and stuff. Fantastic update. Absolutely love it. So good. Can't, you know, talk about it enough. I love it. Very good update. Now, the dives themselves, so everybody's having to go through and re-clear them with the new system, right? Which, in and of itself, not that bad, having to go through and re-clear it. And then here you see safety mining available. And safety mining available, you know, as they mentioned before, you get so much Eternium based on the level that you're safety mining at. As well, you know, you get some of the what are they called? Imaginary cores. So, as far as I can tell, the tower doesn't reset here. You just keep diving deeper, get your first clear rewards, and then once you're at the end, once you're done, you're done. You're completely based. You can use your tickets for your, you know, safety mining, get some Eternium. Cool. Haven't actually done a safety mining yet, so I don't know if it just gives you Eternium or not. But the way they worded it beforehand does suggest that's what it does. I'm sorry, I didn't check beforehand. That being said, let me back out and show. For the dives that pop up now, here's an issue. Before, you could sweep them if it was, you know, a difficulty you already cleared. And the dive that pops up, it pops up at the highest difficulty for what you have currently cleared on the tower. Yeah, but before, once you cleared it once, that difficulty once, you could sweep it, go straight to the end, get your reward. You can't do that now, so you have to actually sit through these every time. And at the higher levels, that's a bit time consuming. And honestly, not that great. Not a fan of that. I want my sweep back. You give me sweep back, and I think I suddenly have no issues with the changes to dive. Yeah, not getting those first clear rewards again kind of sucks. But oh well, not a huge deal, all things considered. No, it just kind of sucks. I can't even like really sugarcoat that. But you know, one bad thing to the nice things that come to this aspect of it is, you know, great. Because your dive squads are permanently at 4, and these are teams you built specifically for dives. And that's what you use for your dives. So that's really nice. I really like that change. It's really good. Having all of these different modes, have teams, you know, you build within the mode and are, you know, saved to that mode outside of your standard squads, very nice. I do like that change. And I think my biggest complaint with the dive changes is just not being able to sweep things I have cleared for these, you know, dives that pop up here. So, you know, like I cleared a 68, level 68 one before, or earlier, and before I'd go to this other 68, I could click sweep, go right to the end and be done. Now I have to sit here and go through the entire dive again, and that just takes up a lot of time. It's a lot of time. And then, you know, I don't have a lot of time to just sit here and do the dives. And you say, why not use the auto battle? Well, they took away the bullet system, right? The ammo system, so each ship can only do so many fights, which consequently allowed them to make the dives a little bit longer. There's more like stages to them. You see, to compensate that, every ship has like this little bit of a debuff. For every second, you're losing like 0.1% of your health on the ship, so it's slowly ticking down. And when you do auto, it just keeps doing the same ship over and over and over, so your ship dies, and even using the auto takes a chunk of time, but it's not the worst. It's just the auto is not great at deploying, because it will just kill your ship. It will send a ship out when it's at like less than 4%, 5% of its health, and that will just kill it. It'll just die. And so then it has to load back out, send in your next ship, and it takes time. Why not just do the sweep function? Like, I get doing them all the first time. Not really too bothered by that. It's a little bit tedious, sure, but whatever. Why can't I sweep it again? Like, I've done this level before, I've cleared this level before. Why can't I just sweep it? Would love the sweep back. The experience changes for your units, they're not getting experience when you use them in missions. It sucks a little bit. You still get loyalty, so it's still you can still build a team to skip through missions to build loyalty. Works fine, but it's fine. I don't actually mind that change too much in implementation. The biggest problem is the amount of credits you need for salary negotiation. It burns through your credits. Thankfully, they are running these events. I don't know what the word form they use is. I keep wanting to say quick time events, but I'm like, that's not right. We get negotiation costs off and little events like that, like great success rates for your world map deployments and stuff. They're going to be running those more often. They have come out and released a statement saying that. So hopefully that alleviates that credit issue a little bit, but still a lot of credits, especially when it comes to leveling like rearm units and stuff. So the need for credits is even higher, and we're more or less getting credits at the same rate. So that could use a little bit of a touch up. Again, it comes back to that the Eternium to reward ratio is heavily skewed not in our favor at all with the way things work in the new Origin update. That is the biggest issue, I think. And there isn't much they really changed with the strategy and ranked battle. Though, no, I will point out, if you go over to your collection, because JP merged with us, you can see down here some units that we don't have yet or we know are coming later this month. So you will run into those units because they are the units that JP has that we do not. But none of them are really anything super amazing. There's even a single operator, Mona's mom, that you can actually get the operator with Planet Mall points if you wanted right now. So there's an option. But they're there. So just a few small things that JP had that we didn't. And I'm sure we'll get those banners either in the next couple weeks or, in the next month or so to make up the difference. And yes, the JP players do have Code Geass collab, but that's not really that big a deal. The units aren't that powerful. Like compared to... None of them can even compare to what Awakened Horizon is, right? So that's way more of a nightmare than they will ever be when you run across them in PvP, and that is the only place you run across them is if you run up against a JP player in PvP. Otherwise, the changes here to the ranked battle, strategy battle, not much to really say. Though I will say, if you go over to the exchange shop, they did add the rest of the seasonal gears, the sincere, loyal, devoted, courageous stuff. And they started putting them on sale again to go with the seasons. Very, very nice. So as you can see, I have started to buy them because they're on sale. Because saving up 6k, I just wasn't doing it. So this I will save up and do. So that is very cool. And I'm assuming when the next season changes from courageous to one of these other three, the courageous this will go off sale, that'll go on sale. Start picking those up. So the gear here is decent gear. So is it mandatory or super rush to pick up? No, but it's nice to pick up if you PvP a lot and you have the points. So that's nice. There really isn't much that changed in the shop worth talking about that I have noticed. So I won't say anything about the shop. And that's really all the big things that changed in the Origin update. It's not a whole lot to say about it, but it's overall, I think I do very much enjoy the update. I do. But before I give my final thoughts, there is a single thing that I do want to talk about because it seems to be the only thing people are talking about on any forum or anything online when it comes to this update. And that's the tactical upgrade. I'm so tired of seeing people talk about this. And quite frankly, I think people are making a huge deal out of nothing. It's not that big a deal. If you want my opinion, there it is. It's not that big a deal. And if you think it is, it's not. I'm sorry. It really isn't. 6% total. 6 out of 6, you get a 6% damage amp, a 6% damage reduction, and a 6% resource refund. I want you to know a 6% resource refund when the total you can get of a resources is 10. So 6% of like 5 or 4 or 3, which you know your average range of units, I guess, is less than 1. You're getting a little bit back on that bar. A little bit. Doesn't make a huge difference. 6% damage amp, 6% damage reduction. Those cancel each other out. So I mean, if you end up against another 6/6 unit, it doesn't even matter. Does it make a difference if you does? That's the big complaint. It makes a difference when you don't have those units compared at the same tactical upgrade. Yeah, but I mean, you could say the same about that guy has perfect gear because they wailed and got the money to buy all the gold bins to keep re-rolling until they got the perfect gear. Yeah, it gives whales what? 6%. That's nothing compared to what they already had with gear and other things they could spend money to do, which a free-to-play player can do. It just takes them much longer. 6% is not a big deal. Heck, the amount of stats you get from 100 to 110 is significantly more than 6%. It's not a big deal. I don't care about the tactical upgrade system. It's whatever. If I have a complaint with it, it's the menu around it, because it takes you into a different menu. So when you're done and you want to change units, you have to back out, and sometimes clicking next doesn't take you to the right unit, so you have to back out again and go find the right unit. That's my biggest complaint is the menu. Strangely, with the UI update, it's the UI element of it. But I think everybody's making a huge deal about the tactical upgrade. And it's my opinion, right? Maybe you don't agree, and that's fine. If you don't agree, you don't agree. I think, in the grand scheme of things, it's really not worth fretting about. It's really not. Compared to what dupes do in so many other games out there, it's not. It's nothing. Like, dupes in Grand Cross is huge. Like, especially when it comes to things like festival units, where they get basically whole new ultimates that make them entirely overpowered if you have them duped out. That's not what this is doing. So it's just like finding something to really gripe about. If people want to gripe about something, gripe about how much the reward to like stamina cost is, because that's an issue. That is a grind and a painful one, and it does kill a little bit of enjoyment to a certain extent. So that I could understand, but this tactical upgrade, it's not a big deal. I'm sorry, it's really not. It's my opinion, sure, but it's the way I see it. It's not a big deal. And I think you just let it go. It's fine. I bet if you keep playing for a month, 2 months, you will not even notice the difference in PvP or anywhere else that the tactical upgrade system gives you. I don't think you will. Because I noticed nothing already. And I do have things duped. Look, I even have a dupe on one of my awakened, actually on 2 of my awakened units. So yeah, there's that. That's my little rant on that. I've had that in like a couple of these New Origin videos, and I keep cutting it out. But there it is. You get it. I don't think it's a big deal. So, sorry. I don't agree. And I probably won't. So, just saying. I'm sorry. I think anybody that leaves because of this system, you weren't really enjoying this game to begin with, because it doesn't change the enjoyment of this game. It doesn't break this game. This game is still fun just as much now as it was before this system was in place. And honestly, I actually kind of like it because it makes the dupes feel slightly more important, Like, before you use the dupes to be able to cheapen breaking the limit cap. And I agree that that was nice for, like, your lower rank units, and even some of your SSRs you didn't want to use fusion cores on. I do think they need to bump up how many fusion cores we get just a little bit. Again, that goes back to the main issue with this update overall. But I don't know, feeding that dupe in does, feel a little bit more rewarding to have had the dupe. Even if it doesn't really do anything, it feels a little bit more rewarding than just using it to cheapen the cost of an upgrade. And that's a personal opinion that is very much shaded by the insurmountable number of gacha games I have played. So, but it feels weightier in the use of your dupes, but its actual impact on the game feels negligent. So yeah, there it is. That's that. I'm done with that. And so yeah, overall, the opinion on the new Origin update, it's a great update. UI is very clean. I love it. A lot of nice quality of lives and little things that we've gotten that are just really cool, really good to see. And the biggest complaint, the biggest problem with the update is just that reward to turnium ratio. That how much you're getting for doing Shadow Palace, doing the dimensional trimming, doing dives, and just the repetitiveness and tediousness of dives. Those are my biggest complaints with this update. And kind of segueing a little bit, to go with that, we actually got a letter from the devs following the update, and they're apologizing. They're apologizing for the bugs and the issues and the things people have been complaining about. And I don't want to sit here and read all of this word for word, but it's basically, it said, we're sorry you don't like everything. Like, we're sorry about the problems, and, a lot of the issues that I've named, they say sorry for here. Like, based on the feedback for the UI reorganization, they are making improvements as quickly as possible to going off of our feedback to try and, alleviate the issues that are had with it. The battle experience being removed. And although it may be enough, it may not be enough to repay the Boston Hurricanes we are planning to hold salary negotiating discounts, Eternium consumption discounts, even from this weekend. We continue to follow up management through continuous monitoring and event progress to set the balance between the convenient use of daily content and the pleasant development of the bosses does not deviate from the intention of the system improvement. Basically saying, how do I word this? They plan to make the skipping and everything a little bit better to also kind of help in some ways with it. Though I don't think that's the issue. Nobody's problem with it is the platoon selection, I don't think. It's, just the credits and how much, experience you need now. But they talk about that there, and, again, this is, basically Google translated on the website, so it's not perfect to go off of. But server response speed, they're looking at that. The dive rewards. The dive system is planning adjustments over 5 weeks as compensation and balance statuses that do not fit the play environment and reorganization direction were discovered during the final Q&A period of the update. I'm very ashamed and sorry for revealing the content with insufficient quality. We will proceed with planned modifications such as clear rewards and automatic play environments as early as possible. So, the biggest issues I have with dive, they basically said right here, they're working on it and they're going to get it out as soon as possible. So there's one of the major issues I had with it. Gone. One of the major issues a lot of people had with it, gone. They're working on it. Does it mean they fixed it? No. But it means they know that we don't like it, there is an issue, they're working on it. So that's great. This shows great, player appreciation. They're listening to feedback. Now this next bit on obtaining rearmament data and tactical update effect, basically, they said tactical update is the way they want to go forward with things. And so they're going to stick with it. They're going to keep it. They're going to, it's going to stay in the game. Yes, that slows down the, gaining of rearmament data because you're using those dupes now. But it's not, a permanent thing. Once you dupe things out, you go back to rearming them. it's slower, and if you really want to rearm, your units, there are other ways to get rearmament data. And maybe don't rearm the units that don't really need it, because overall, some units you're really not going to use in PvE or PvE in PvP, and the base game is still designed as if this system didn't exist, so they don't need the dupes. You can use them for rearmament. Of course, that's a player-by-player, decision-based basis, and some units might want the dupes, like that 6% might be more beneficial on some than others, I guess. I don't know. I'm duping all my units simply because that's just what I do in these games. And then, yeah, once I'm done doing that, I'll start feeding them into rearmament data again. Simple as that. That's all I can do, and they said they're sticking with it. But they will try to make things, better to, kind of alleviate the strain of it. So they're listening, they're trying, and I think that's great. So there's a lot of people I've seen that have just up and quit the game immediately after this update, not even giving it a full week before they're just like fed up, before, oh, I have problems with this and this and this. And like I said earlier, to those people, you weren't even enjoying the game in the first place. You weren't a fan. So I'm sorry, but it is what it is. For the rest of you, I would preach patience. Give them time, to see all of our feedback, to make adjustments, to try and alleviate things, to try and make it better. Give them a chance. Like, oh my goodness, it wasn't perfect on launch. Nothing ever is. Nothing is ever perfect on launch. So many games, and like even before, you had a constant online connection to where you could get updates. Games had bugs, and that's just it. Nothing's gonna be perfect. Not gonna get it perfect. Give them a chance. Let them fix things. Let them make adjustments. Hopefully they're quick about it, but give them some time. It's not that easy to make a game. Hate to tell people out there that don't know that. It's not that easy to make a game. So that's my thoughts on the New Origin update. Honestly, I'm fine. I like the game. I love the game. I loved the game before. I like a lot of the changes that are here now. I think some of it needs a little bit of adjustment. Like I said multiple times, the reward to stamina consumption definitely needs adjustment. But overall, game's still the same. Still heck of a lot of fun. Characters are great. Story's amazing. Love it. And all the rewards we're getting right now, very nice. So, yeah. With all that being said, this is probably not the most high quality video I have put out. It is mostly just rambling, ranting, and talking about my experience with the update thus far. And, yeah. So, that's all it really was. I just wanted to give my thoughts and put them out there. So, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. And, maybe there will be a discussion. But I will say, if that is the case, be nice to one another. No need to be hateful. Like, if the people that left, that's fine. You made your choice. That's cool. I respect it. No, don't throw hate or shade at anybody. There's no need for it. I mean, even when I say, like, sorry you didn't like it, you left, whatever, you probably didn't like it, I'm not trying to be hateful or mean with that. I'm just saying, give them a chance. Some people have said it is right after the, disaster that was the HoloLive collab. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to try and defend the HoloLive collab. I'm not. I'm sorry. But give them a chance. This is a little different. This is them trying to do something really nice to make the game shiny and nice and new and fancy and make it, have a longer lifespan by making it more enjoyable and convenient. And things didn't pan out perfectly. But I'm kind of rambling and stumbling over my words a little bit now, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Those are my thoughts. Feel free to leave yours down in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed the video, and if you still enjoy Counterside. And yeah, I'm going to keep making, news videos and updates and things like that. Talking about the game as stuff is revealed and comes out and all that fun stuff. So you can expect to see more Counterside videos right here going forward. And, eventually I'll get around to making videos for other games. I keep saying that, but nothing to talk about yet. Mostly play Counterside. With all that being said, I will see everyone in the next one. Peace.